800 or send her a text on 80295. Right, I'll speak to you a little bit later on, Poonam.
Yep, bye.
Thanks very much for that. Right, okay, you're listening to BBC Radio Scotland. It's Connie with you until 11:30 this morning. We're going to be talking about XL bullies shortly. The ban on the breed comes into effect at the end of this month in England and Wales. But we're going to talk about how it's going to impact things here in Scotland shortly. We'll get some more music before that, though.
Check this out. Check this out.
Talking about a black or white thing, cause that will cause conflict and make this illegit. But your definition of legit and illegitimate is confusing. Now the redhead wanna say, to make things clearer, cause in about a year or two, what you do is take a look up in the mirror, and what you see is the image of hate that you shed upon the others, the sisters, and your brothers. Now, in my opinion, you need someone to teach. The whole world is acting like a giant Howard Beach. I asked my man Victor what he used to do for fun. He said he learned to shoot a gun before the age of 21. Crime and abortion, all kinds of my distortion. This is very important, but just a little caution of what you can do. That's a clue, and it's true. Yo, don't want a brand new sweater and make your life better and do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. Do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. Brothers are stealing and dealing and big wheeling, and to a younger mind that stuff is appealing. So what do? They gather up a crew, go out and steal a rob instead of getting a job. Now, your mother tried to bring you up better than that. The same way she loved you, you loved her right back. But now you think you're grown and you argue a lot over money you got from dealing stuff on the block. Now, you're not the only one in the world that has problems. Keep your head straight and you can surely solve them. Be a fly guy and reach sky high, and like the Jeffersons, you get a piece of the pie. I hope you take heed to the message I brought. In other words, the lesson I taught. The red I kick a lyric, but I won't sing. And the FBI crew wants you, and you and you to do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. Do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. Right about now, when all the spotters and the homeboys in the house, let me count it off as we go on something like this. 1, 2, 3, and Manhattan, you gotta do the right thing. Brooklyn, you gotta do the right thing. In the Bronx, you gotta do the right thing. Queens Island, you gotta do the right thing. Long Island, you gotta do the right thing. Staten Island, you gotta do the right thing. On the West Coast, you gotta do the right thing. Everybody in the world, you got to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Sending out our message on a positive note, trying to make you all see the light when we supposed to be in the dark. You know, this is going out to my mother, to my brother, to the rest of the FBI tribe, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody else in the world, I just want y'all to do one thing, and that's the right thing. You got to do the right thing.
Here on BBC Radio Scotland, it's 10:38 now. In 3 days' time, selling, breeding or rehoming XL bully dogs in England and Wales will become illegal. Owning the breed without exemption will be against the law from the 1st of February. However, this law won't apply in Scotland, as SNP ministers are still assessing the evidence and figuring out exactly what's going to happen in this part of the country. But as the ban approaches, what impact is it already having here? This is what we're talking about this morning. I'm going to speak to Kellyanne Stevenson, who's a rehabilitation specialist from Canine Campus Pet Rescue. Morning, Kellyanne.
Good morning.
Also, we're going to speak to Faye Winter, former Love Island finalist and campaign star for Guide Dogs. Morning, Faye.
Good morning.
And Adam as well, who is rehoming an XL bully. Morning, Adam.
Morning.
Thanks very much, all three of you, for joining me. Kellyanne, let me start with you. This is something that we've heard an awful lot about in the news, on TV and the radio over the past few months. These attacks from these types of dogs. It's prompted the government in England to make these changes. What does the picture look like here in Scotland?
We're still homing. We're still rehoming XL bullies in Scotland just now. We did rehome a wee girl just a couple of weeks ago there as well. For us in Scotland, it's not going to be any more, different from our normal. We'll still be rehoming them. So it will not make a massive difference to us. But as I said before, the main issues that I was thinking about recent weeks is the dogs that are coming to the UK, from England to Scotland just now that are not being assessed properly, by the rescues before being sent. That's where we could lead to some problems, really.
And Faye, you've been really strong on this. You've been campaigning against the ban. Talk to me about why that is, and explain a little bit about what's been happening, maybe for people who've not been necessarily following the story.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because a lot of people actually don't fully understand what is going on, and I think that's half the battle. We are now going to be going into a lot of innocent dogs being characterised and then judged just based off of physical appearance. We've got people that are going to have to pay to have their dog accepted, so they're going to have massive money issues when it comes to the dogs. And then on top of that, we've got people that don't really understand the dog. So that is my dog. And then we've got people that just love their dog, and it's going to be those that are going to suffer overall. So we've got a dog that is misunderstood, a dog that people are willing to do anything and everything for, but actually it's the ones that aren't innocent, the ones that have caused this, that are getting away with it scot-free. And that's why I'm really against this whole thing happening. I mean, the ship has kind of sailed as far as the 31st of December, but it's so difficult, when you're looking at dogs of innocence and they're just being characterised and they're just being misjudged and they've been wrongly mistreated throughout this whole process. You said earlier about the fact that these dogs, and there's been a number of attacks. Yes, there has been, but nobody wants to mention the fact that also attacks have happened from Huskies, they've happened from Rottweilers, they've happened from other breeds.
Looking at the stats here, according to the UK Parliament website, 355 recorded attacks have happened by American bully type dogs in 2023 alone, out of 841 recorded. So, I mean, you understand, I'm assuming, Faye, that people have been concerned. They felt as though action needed to be taken. If you wanted to ensure that there was protection of these dogs, but people remain safe, what would you rather happened?
So I think the problem is yes, and that's one thing I've really suffered with, is the scrutiny that only because I'm sticking up for this breed and sticking up for these dog owners, I'm then seen as, oh, well, I've got no sympathy for those that have been attacked, which is absolutely not the case. Nobody in the UK should be innocently killed. That can be from knife crime, gun crime, or even, deaths from cows, which that is the breed that actually kills the most people in the UK. So I don't believe this should be happening, and something definitely did need to happen. Do I think that we could have stopped the breeding and licensed the breed? Absolutely. Do I think that we should be muzzling them in public? Yes, I do. And there were definitely things that we could have done. But the problem we've got now is that it's going to be the innocent families and the innocent people that love their dogs like they are family, the ones that are innocent, that are going to suffer, because these people are going to go above and beyond for their dogs. And the ones that don't, and the ones that have allowed their dogs to be the way that they have been and caused these deaths and accidents and attacks, are going to walk away scot-free. They've already probably abandoned their dogs. They've probably already moved on to the next dog. They don't care. So
Yeah.
that's where my heart lies with it.
I mean, in fairness, I guess that is part of the exemption, isn't it? The things you were talking about there, making sure the dogs are muzzled, making sure these dogs are registered, and the authorities, I guess, are aware of where they are. That's part of what you're saying. So is it more down to the fact that you're talking about the fact that this is going to cost owners that you're more concerned about? Rather than...
But it's not just even that. Yeah, it's going to cost people money that they don't have, but also you're looking at housing associations and tenancy agreements, which clearly state a lot of them state you cannot keep a banned breed. So you're then making people either fear being homeless or they're going to have to give their dog up, and that's a really horrible and disgusting way to make people feel. I think to put that fear into people themselves, and also we're then going to put out into the public even more to fear these dogs. You've then got big breeds that do need a lot of exercise. You know, I'm a dog owner myself, and yes, she's not an XL bully, but she needs a lot of exercise. We're then going to have to keep these big breeds on a lead at all times, where you're then going to have a dog with a lot of energy pumped up inside of it. And actually, could that cause more harm than good? We don't know yet, but I
guess that the concern is from other dog owners. You mentioned you've got a dog yourself, that they want to make sure that, well, they are safe and their children are safe, and also their own dogs are safe. So I guess part of that, Adam, I mean, you're the one who's experienced with this breed. I mean, part of owning a breed like that, I would assume, is making sure that you're able to, that the dogs are well trained enough, and making sure that they're safe as well as anyone else around them.
Yeah, definitely. Your dogs should definitely know common commands: sit, come, stay, all the common commands. If your dog hasn't got all the common commands, it's not a dog for you. Like, I just think it's a shame on the dogs, because, like everyone's saying, it's not the dogs, it's the people. These people have just got a dog, they think they're little roadmen, and they're going to get this big dog that's going to back them up, and they're going to use it as a weapon. It's just like knife crime and gun crime and all that. They're just using dogs now instead of the knife and the guns.
Talk to me a little bit about XL bullies, what they're like in your experience. What temperament-wise, what are they like?
Oh, my dog, she's lovely. She is one of the best dogs I've had. She lies underneath my daughter's swings. My son, at a year and a half, I used to let him walk her. I've never had a problem with her. Never.
And how does that make you feel then when you hear about what's happening in England and Wales as well, and potentially what could happen here? And I guess within that, you've taken the decision to rehome and adopt another XL bully from England. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, like I'm saying, it's not these dogs. It's genuinely not these dogs. It's how they're brought up. It's who they're brought up with. Like I'm saying, my dog, she's been brought up with my children. She's been brought up with my brothers and sisters. She's the best dog going, And they are the best type of dogs going. There's quite a lot of them going about. And I think the thing is, what's going to happen up here is everyone's going to send their dogs up here to save them, and everyone's going to want to save them. And someone's going to get the dog up here and turn it into the wrong dog. And then the same what's happening in England's going to happen up here, when it's genuinely not the dogs.
Kellyanne, when you're just listening to what Faye's saying, listening to what Adam's saying there, that they're making very heartfelt pleas on behalf of dogs that are up until this point have done nothing wrong, just going about their business, and it's a minority of this breed that has caused issues, fatalities. Let's not underestimate how serious and severe this situation had to be, for this legislation to come into effect. But what would you say to people who are dog owners, who are out maybe walking with their kids, and they might see what they might think would be an XL bully, and they're worried and they're scared? And what would you say to them to ease their concerns a little bit?
I think now in Scotland and for the UK, I think most people that are getting XL bully are kind of reining in, their protocol with their own dog in a park. They are keeping them on the lead, in England. When I've been down in England, I've seen people muzzling them and stuff like that as well. So they're sticking to the protocol. Any dog in public can be a danger. As I say, as a behaviourist and rehabilitation specialist, most dogs we get in just now with reactivity and aggression issues like French bulldogs. I've got one in just now for a rehab, or German shepherds and stuff like that. It shouldn't be an actual breed issue. It should be making sure your dogs and family are safe in public with any dog, and again, keeping your dog under control as well.
Is that fair that we've got a sort of an understanding? I mean, for example, my mum's got 2 Japanese Spitz dogs, right? And they could not be two. They look identical, right? Told to the untrained eye, but actually, personality-wise, temperament-wise, they're completely different dogs. So, are we right to just blanket ban across a breed, or to sort of to think that every dog in a breed is going to act the same way?
Well, there's no blanket banning a breed, they're blanket banning a type. There's no XL bully blueprint as yet. So it's a very, very grey area, and I just don't understand how the government and, dog wardens and such like councils are going to manage to, manage it, because nobody's going to be trained, and they're going to have enough staff, to actually facilitate taking the dogs away from family owners to be typed, etc. Where they're going to put them, there's no kennel spaces. They haven't thought it through properly. It's an absolute disaster.
Do you think, are you beginning to see people, I've heard reports already of people abandoning their dogs in England and Wales, and are we beginning to see a flow of people, similar to what Adam's doing, taking them up to Scotland? Are we going to see quite a large influx of these types of dogs coming up here because of the way that the government's...
There already is a massive influx, but as a rescue, as we rehome, we don't rehome through Christmas and New Year. It's the worst time ever to try and integrate a dog of any type into a family unit. But these dogs are being shipped up to Scotland without assessments, without insurance, without rescue backup, without facilitating a kennel facility. If anything goes wrong in their new placement, where's that dog going to go? People just need to kind of try and fix a wee bit more and get used to the new legislation. The government's going to take time to roll it out properly and effectively. And I just don't want people making rash decisions by putting dogs down. When there's exemption guidelines that are there, I know there's loads of other bully groups that are trying to get things through court to make things easier for owners that are planning on keeping their dogs and making them exempt. So I think people just really need to try, again with pit bulls will get rehomed in the UK, even though they're a banned breed as well. And I don't see there's going to be any difference with an XL bully, because there is no actual breed. It's a size, it's a type. So it's going to be hard. It's going to cost the government, us the taxpayer, thousands of pounds to go to court all the time, to try and get these dogs seized and stuff like that when there's no an actual for an XL bully in the first place. I think it should definitely be the deed and not the breed, because XL bullies are absolutely great dogs. I spent a lot of time with them, and I do a lot of training with them, and it's definitely, a handler issue, not the dog issue.
What's going to happen to these dogs, the ones that are coming up to Scotland, if they're not adopted, and where are they going?
They're going straight into family homes, undesirable family homes at that, just like the gentleman was saying earlier. There's people who can't normally afford an XL bully that now have got their hands on one, but then can't afford things like pet insurance. What happens if the exemption comes to Scotland? Can they then afford the neutering? Can they then afford the training? Can they afford the exemption costs as well? The insurance costs? The answer is really no. There's not any due diligence checks done properly at this time. There's a lot of unregistered rescues, essentially live animals who are shipping them to Scotland, but the right checks, assessments and placements are not being done effectively, and this is where we're going to run a risk of things going wrong.
Okay. Listen, thank you very much, all of you, for your contribution. Adam, when does your dog come?
Tomorrow.
And so you've got your own dog just now. What are you worried about, the potential sort of integration with the other dog? Have they met each other yet? How's that all going to go down?
She's perfect. My dog, she's perfectly fine with other dogs. This dog's perfectly fine with other dogs. This other dog's been around kids and stuff like that. So Really, to be honest, I'm not worried a bit. I'm honestly not worried at all about it. Like, genuinely, like I'm saying, they're the best type of dogs going about. They're easy to interact with each other, you know. They're the best. Honestly, they're good.
Oh, thanks for your time, Adam. Good luck with it all.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. That was Adam there, who's rehoming his XL Bill. He's got arriving tomorrow. He's already got one. Faye Winter there, you heard, former Love Island finalist and campaign star for guide dogs. And also that was Kellyanne Stevenson, who's a rehabilitation specialist from Canine Campus Pet Rescue. Right, it is 10:54.
Tired of seeing the same old videos slapped together? Only on Night Flight can you see takeoffs to the latest trends in today's music. Fantastic feature films, video profiles, new sound, heavy metal heroes, directions in jazz, reggae sunsplash, Mr. Bill, film and video gallery, video vault, and off the wall. Night Flight. Where would your weekend be without it? It's Night Flight all night. Friday and Saturday at 11, 10 Central on USA.
I'd love to hear from you on this, actually, that XL Bully conversation we were just having. 80295. Would you consider rehoming an XL Bully? Have you got concerns about the dogs? Maybe if you're out and about with your own dog, if you see what you think might be one, do you get a little bit concerned and worry and go the sort of another way? Or if you've got kids or whatever else, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. 80295 is the way to do that. Right, still to come, you've got time to get your questions in for a resident doctor in this week's health surgery. You don't need an appointment, remember, just give it a call, 08085 92 95 00, and you can text 80295. Remember, your standard network message rates apply. That's coming up after 11 o'clock this morning. Now, we find ourselves in the middle of Christmas and New Year, in case you hadn't noticed. The festive cheer might have faded somewhat, and a sense of sadness or feeling a little bit down might have settled in for some people. And experiencing the Christmas blues, we're told, is not unusual, right? But have you ever wondered why they happen? And more importantly, is there anything you can do to try and lift your spirits? Dee Maxwell, comedian and actress, joins me in the studio. Morning, Dee.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, I'm good. And Dr. Carolyn Keenan is back with me again this morning. Morning, Carolyn. Carolyn with me? Oh, we'll get her back in just a second. Dee, let me start with you. Do you suffer from the Christmas blues?
Yeah, I do a wee bit. I think you get all excited. It's like a wedding, isn't it? I think it's the run up to a wedding, and then just when the last dance is done, you just still think what's happening, where we're going, what we're doing. Is that it all done for another year? So I definitely do go down the way. And trifle eating is usually
See, that can be part of it as well, because we've spent all that time hyping up towards it. We've eaten too much, we've overindulged, whatever your overindulgence is for you, and then we just feel a little bit like full. You've maybe overslept. Well, I would love to have overslept, if I'm perfectly honest, but you're out your routine a little bit as well.
Definitely, and just everybody's away doing their own thing. And if you don't go to the next person's house for dinner, which some people do, if Boxing Day is always the day where I just chill, everybody else is busy. So even if you get bored, it's like, who do you phone and annoy?
Carolyn, you are with us. Are you back with us now?
Yes, I think so.
You're here, good. That sense of being out your routine can be part of this, I'm assuming.
Definitely. And as humans, we're quite prone to the post-nice event blues, post-holiday blues, post-wedding blues. So I think it is really normal when there's been a big build-up to something that there's been a lot of pressure on for it to be fun and exciting and nice and a bit out of the ordinary, out of your routine, for it to feel a bit underwhelming in that little period in between when things are not quite back to normal, but also not quite as hyped up and ramped up as they have been.
We're always keen to say, what can we do to get rid of this? What can we do to try and stop feeling this way? Do we need to stop feeling this way, Carolyn? Or actually is it sometimes okay just to feel the feelings and then try and move past them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a psychologist, I think one of the things that we always recommend is trying to stay with what's going on rather than trying to avoid it. But I think that everyone has limitations, and it depends on what your capacity to feel is at the moment. And I think a lot of people are feeling pretty worn out, pretty tired. You know, might have had some fairly intense family experiences over the last few days. So I'd say rather than trying to either really immerse yourself in feeling the blues or try and completely get rid of it, just think about small things that you might be able to do to ease it a little bit. That might be a little bit of gentle movement. You know, you mentioned exercise. If you're feeling like you've overindulged, you know, even your body doesn't feel like it would normally. So rather than new me, new you, just do something gentle to get back into some of those routines.
You like a little bit of manifestation, don't you?
Yeah, I love doing meditation and stuff, and I do cold water. I was thinking all the things there, and I do cold water therapy as well, and exactly what you said, just taking yourself out the comfort zone. That's what I do. As soon as I feel that overwhelmed, that's it, done. What do we do now? Just get out, nature, and chill and take space in my mind. And it always does help, because it can't change what you're doing just now, but it can change your mindset towards it, I think.
Are you getting better at noticing when you need to do that?
A lot better. Usually within 10 minutes, sometimes I'll go into a wee rant. I used to rant all the time. It was my favourite pastime. And now I've kind of, I go and I go, is that really your surrounding stuff? Or is that how you're feeling? What can we do? And I'll go and do a wee meditation that's kind of to do with the feeling that I'm feeling. And it always helps. Everybody's got their own way, but it definitely helps. And I do recognise it now.
You are speaking to the converted. I do love a wee bit of meditation. Right, just in one sentence, if you can, Carolyn, what for you, what's the thing that helps you move past it?
Being by myself.
Yes, being by... Well, that actually ties in quite nicely. We were talking about loneliness on the programme a little bit earlier this morning, but there is that difference between being lonely and knowing when it's okay to feel as if you need space to be on your own. Listen, Dee, thank you very much for coming in. Dee Maxwell, comedian and actress, and Dr. Carolyn Keenan, who is a registered psychologist. Right, we have lots still to come in the programme, including our health surgery. Dr. Poonam Krishan is on the way. You're not too badly affected. Right, it is just after 11 o'clock. It's Connie McLaughlin with you until 11:30 this morning, and then it's the next instalment of the Missing Madonna podcast. Stick around if you can for that. Before that, though, we've got the doctor's surgery. It is open. Dr. Poonam is back. We're going to be looking at the hidden dangers of your Christmas leftovers as well. As always, we're taking your questions. You don't need an appointment. This is the number you need to call, 08085 92 95 00, or you can send it a text, 80295.
All the conversations that matter.
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Mixed in between that, though, we've got some more music for you, starting with this.
Now I can tell ya
There's a nice little bit of nostalgia all wrapped up in a little Christmas bowl for you right there with the Backstreet Boys. Or is that me showing my age? 11 minutes after 11 here in BBC Radio Scotland. It is time for our health surgery. Dr. Poonam Krishnan is with us. Poonam, I'm assuming that you might feel the same way about the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, I was singing along there. I was singing along. That was just so nice.
I know. Right, okay. We've, by the way, busy old surgery this morning for you. Still time if you want to get in touch though. 08085 92 95 00, or you want to send Poonam a question, 80295. You can do that. Anything that's maybe been bugging you, or you think, oh, I don't want to bother my GP about this, well, this is your opportunity to get Poonam's expertise. She is ready and standing by. Let's head straight to the phone lines. Joanna's in Aberdeen. Morning, Joanna.
Good morning. Good morning.
What would you like to ask Dr. Poonam?
Well, what it is recently I've been getting a real pain on my left arm, sort of round about the elbow and down a bit into the forearm, and to the point I'm waking up. So I started using this, what do you call it? It's a balm, and it's got things like menthol, eucalyptus, camphor. I've been using that, but I was just wondering if it might be related to quite a few years ago I tripped and fell, and I had a hairline fracture in that area. Right. And I wondered if that might be related in some way.
Okay. So are you having the pain every day?
Just recently, yeah.
Yeah, so it's there every day, and it's there all the time, or does it come and go?
No, I'd say... that's a good question, 'cause I don't know. I'd say it's more there than it's not, let's put it that way.
Right, okay,
I'm conscious of it.
And do you find that movement or certain things that you do affect the pain?
No, not really.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. And it's kind of very localised. You said in the forearm and the elbow. It's not travelling anywhere else.
No. It's mainly in the sort of elbow and down a wee bit.
Yeah.
It's not the full forearm. It's just in that area.
Okay. And just really quickly, you don't have any symptoms like palpitations, chest pain, or shortness of breath? No. Okay, the reason is because there's lots of different reasons for why you can get pain in the arm, and one of the things that we always want to rule out is that it's not related to the heart, which it doesn't sound like. The fact that you've got previous fracture there, quite often what can happen is, even though fractures heal over time, we can get a bit of wear and tear. The elbow joint particularly is one that we're using a lot. So it may be that there's a little bit of degeneration there. But also surrounding the elbow area, you've got tendons, you've got little sacs that kind of are basically act like cushions to protect the joint, and they can become inflamed as well from time to time, and they can cause this kind of constant chronic pain that you're experiencing. I would say the fact that it's there every day, if it is affecting sort of everyday activities that you're doing, it might be worthwhile just checking in with your GP. Your practice will have a physiotherapist assigned to it, which you can get an appointment with, and what they'll be able to do is assess where the actual area of weakness is, and there might be targeted exercises or therapies that we can do in order to help it. Sometimes you may need a steroid injection if it is an inflammatory process. So I'd say that definitely don't ignore it, because it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if it's related to my being left-handed as well, so I'm very left dominant, if you know what I mean. So when I fell, it always seems to be my left side that sort of goes forward, but I've been told that's normal reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And it will be one because you're using it all the time, and you've got a historic weakness there. The tendency for that joint to be a bit more vulnerable is true. So I think that, it's been going on for a while. You don't want to end up doing stuff every day that could make the problem worse, which is why early intervention with a physiotherapist would be helpful.
Okay, and it's, sorry, I'm keeping you, but...
that's why we're here, Joanna, don't worry.
I wondered if in time, because I'm 59 just now, but in time might it become arthritic, do you think?
Well, So wear and tear, which is the osteoarthritis, will affect all of us at some point in our life. But if you have got any history of fractures, which in your case you do, there is a slight tendency for that to be expedited. But at 59, I mean, what you're describing right now, to me, sounds more like a tendon or a soft tissue type pain. Obviously, I would love to examine you if you were in front of me right now. But, you know, I mean, will you develop arthritis in that joint at some point in your life, with or without the fracture? There's a chance of that, yes. But because of the fracture, yeah, I think that I would probably want to rule that out. So you may end up getting a wee X-ray as well, and that'll be the definitive kind of answer.
Okay, thank you. What was the word that you used that began with D? Sorry.
Bursitis. Was it bursitis or tendinitis? Is that the ones that you're talking about?
I'm not sure. Sorry, my memory's
you
not
can
brilliant.
You can listen back, Joanna,
okay.
on BBC Sounds, and then you can hear it from the beginning.
Send
again.
us a wee message.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good New Year.
All right.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Joanna. Thanks very much for that. It's interesting, isn't it, Put at this time of year that people... They put off going over to or phoning their GP surgery because you hear the messages, unless it's, you know, really important right now, you know. So what is the sort of general protocol when it comes to, are most GP surgeries open at this time between Christmas and New Year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, it's again when COVID happened as well, just kind of weird, you know, message seems to surface that GP surgeries are closed, which is absolutely not the case. We've never been closed. Of course, the public holidays are the only days. So, you know, Christmas, Boxing Day and the 1st and 2nd is when the GP practices will be closed. But of course, we are so blessed and grateful to the NHS 24, which is also lots of GPs do the out-of-hours sessions. So you've always got somebody that will be able to tend to you if you feel that it needs to be, you know, that it's a medical urgent problem. So I think that, yeah, we are absolutely open. We were back at it yesterday, and it was a full-on busy day yesterday. Today, our surgeries are booked out as well. So, you know, if you need to see, don't put things off. I think when people do put things off, it just tends to create more problems. Of course, if it's a minor sniffle, as we talked about earlier, you know, that doesn't need a call to the GP. You can always pop along to your local pharmacy as well for any minor ailments. But if something's bugging you and you're concerned, call us.
Right, okay. Jean has text on 80295. Jean from Edinburgh says, I've been feeling nauseous for the past year, on and off. It normally starts in the morning and lasts until the evening time. Is there anything that I can do about it?
Yes, it's been going on for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd say is the fact any symptoms that are new, persisting and lasting beyond 4 weeks, you want to get that looked at. And when it comes to something like nausea, there's lots of different reasons for why that could be happening. Some of the common things that I see for nausea that starts in the morning and can intermittently kind of affect them during the day, it could be things like anxiety, you know, stress and mental health. Particularly at this time of year, it can make you feel quite sick first thing in the morning. Reflux is another one. You've been lying flat all night, all that acid reflux that can come up into the throat, create a very bad taste. You can wake up in the morning feeling quite sicky. So that's one that I would definitely want to kind of explore whether there might be underlying reflux problems there. A lot of people don't put dehydration down as a cause, but actually, if you've not drank water in several hours, which can obviously during the night you're not really doing that, or if you've had any caffeine before going to bed or had some alcohol the night before, dehydration can cause you to feel a bit nauseous. So maybe have a glass of water next to you and have a sip first thing in the morning and see if that alleviates things, but also low blood sugar. I think people think blood sugar and just think diabetes, but actually you can have sugar dips during the night and that can make you feel quite sicky in the morning as well. So there's all these different things. Obviously, your GP would need to go through a history with you to find out what other symptoms you might have, and hopefully one of those, which are very easy to treat, will be the reasons and we can get that sorted. But don't put it off. I think a year is a bit too much in my mind, so call your GP.
And that's an awful thing to have, isn't it? Nausea, like that sort of constant feeling. It's like niggling in the back of your mind.
It's a horrible feeling, and you just get that horrible watery kind of sensation, and it can put you off your food. It really does affect your quality of life. And I think it's one of those that people go, oh, it's just a wee bit of nausea, I'll ignore it. But it could be a sign of lots of different conditions, which is why you should always get it checked out.
Okay, hopefully that helps, Sheen. Give us a text back in, let us know how you get on with that. Stay where you are, Poonam. We're going to be coming back to you shortly. We've got another couple of callers and texters as well. 80295 if if you want to get your texts in, or you can give it a call 08085 92 95 00. Lunchtime Live is on the way after 12. So remember, I'm on to 11:30 this morning. It's the next episode of The Missing Madonna, and then Lunchtime Live at 12. And Vary's back with us. What's on the show today?
Yes, today we have a full programme. We are here from 12 till 1:30. We'll be looking at the aftermath of Storm Gerrit, which of course has wreaked havoc across the country, leaving thousands of homes without power. Travel also severely disrupted. So we'll be bringing you the latest on the clear up. We'll be hearing from some of the communities worst affected. And actually questions have been asked as to whether this should have been a higher grade of weather warning, as a lot of people seem to have been taken by surprise. So we'll be looking at how these levels of warning, yellow to amber and even red, are calculated. We'll be speaking to a weather expert about that. The US has also approved more aid for Ukraine, but it could very well be the last. And also, we'll be exploring the appeal of vinyl as the comeback continues, with sales in the last year up by 12%.
Okay. Are you a vinyl fan?
Not really, no, but my kids were fighting over my old vinyl collection, so they're now using that, which is quite nice. The ones that weren't badly scratched.
Yeah, it always comes full circle. All right, okay. Thanks very much for that. Lunchtime Live on the way after 12 o'clock today.
This
Our holidays are over, so we're back across the nation. We broadcast to the whole UK on Britain's favourite station. But now we're also on the air across the USA. So put down your hot dogs and your guns and shout hip hip hooray. The Chris Moyle Show, now live across America.
Right, it is 22 minutes after 11. I'm going to be back with you tomorrow from 9 o'clock. We've got the phone in. Also, I'm going to be speaking to the broadcasting legend, which I am not, Hazel Irvine, to talk about her standout sporting moments of 2023 and look ahead to next year. Oh, I'm going to enjoy that. You know how I do love my sport. So she's going to be with me tomorrow morning. And John Quigley and Cynthia Holden are going to be back to spice up your staples this week. They're going to be battling it out with pies, I'm told. And we've got a New Year's themed What's On guide as well. That's all to come tomorrow from 9 o'clock. We're going to be back with Ask the Doctor shortly, but let's get this.
Notorious, just please us with your lyrical thesis. We just chillin', milk 'em, top billin', silkin', pure linen, me and Little C, Malibu sea breeze, dawn peas, palm trees, cats named Pablo, and milked out Diablo, the williest, Dipsy the silliest. The more I smoke, the smaller the Philly gets. Room 112, where the players dwell, and stash more cash than Bert Fidel. Inhale, make you feel good like Tony. Dig up in your middle like Moni.
Yeah.
She don't know me, but she's setting up the under.
Yeah.
Try to style sliding off with a homie.
Yeah.
Escada Dundada, player, stay splurging. Game so tight, they call it version.
Yeah.
Where do I go? What must I do if I can't live without your love? Thinking of you amazed me, baby, like I'm the only one for you. Girl, I want, oh yeah, no one else. I need you.
Radio Scotland.
You can call our free phone number on 08085 92 95 00. Text 80295. Standard message rates apply.
This is BBC Radio Scotland.
Right, we still have got quite a few questions actually trying to get in before the end of the programme. Dr. Poonam is standing by. Sarah's been on, Poonam from Dundee. She's got a question for you, right? She says, I've had a sore throat for a few weeks now. No symptoms of a cold, so I know that I should get this checked, but I'm so daunted by the difficulty I encountered trying to speak to a GP that I'm too scared to actually call my practice. There's no way to make an appointment other than half an hour and a queue at 8 a.m, then the inquisition by the receptionist to be told there are only urgent appointments left to call the next day, and then I do that on repeat. How can I overcome my fear of this sort of futile experience, and how might I be able to actually get to see a doctor, says Sarah.
Yeah, do you know, I do empathise, and I know the system is completely loaded at the minute, and it's not always straightforward. You know, whilst I am a GP, I know how we run here, and I think thankfully we have a great system here. But I'm also a patient, so I understand that it can feel quite daunting sometimes. And I think if you have got a system where you've got to phone in first thing in the morning, and then it's busy and it's engaged, you're already quite anxious, only to be then met with a bit of resistance, that it can leave you feeling very frustrated. I think that there's a few levels to this answer. The first is that you've had a sore throat for several weeks, and you're absolutely correct. You shouldn't ignore that, and you should get it seen. But this time of year, we're seeing a lot of, sore throats, tonsillitis, for example, that don't necessarily always have the classical symptoms. It could be underlying reflux. It could be lots of different things. So it does need a doctor to see you and to examine you to get to the bottom of that. The second thing is, I think you mentioned that when you're phoning, you're met with a lot of questions from receptionists. And I know that this is a bugbear for the general public often, of why do I have to explain to the receptionist. But our reception staff, I don't know how they do the job that they do, but they are extremely skilled, and their job is confidentially taking the information to be able to let the doctor know, so that we can triage and prioritise the how we see the patients. So they're not doing it to be obstinate, they're not doing it to make your life difficult. What they're doing actually is just to be able to give the doctor or the nurse or whoever that they feel that the appointment needs to be directed at a bit more information, so that we're a bit more informed before we make that call to you. I think it's important that you do just hand fire, you phone up and you try and get that appointment, and if you speak to the receptionist, you relay how important it is. Look, I've had this pain for several weeks, I'm really worried. Worried is a great expression to relay that to the receptionist and say, I need to speak to the doctor today, because if your only option is urgent appointments, then that's the way your practice is operating. That's all you've got to go by. I have known that if you're finding that the telephone experience is too stressful, go to reception, your practice reception, and see if you can book an appointment that way. That would be my advice to you.
Yeah, it's about, I guess, what is a priority and sort of urgent for you and you making that call.
Yeah. Absolutely. Practices we're very, very busy at the moment, and there's backlogs, and there's a lot going on, and it's not the patient's fault though, and at the end of the day, health is everything, and when you're worried about something, you need to get the help that you need. So I think I get the frustration. Trust me, the frustration is both sides. As doctors as well, we wish we could see everybody the day that they call, but there's only so many hours in the day and only so many appointments that we can do. But exactly. I think hopefully you'll be able to get that appointment.
I did mention earlier that this time of year can be the perfect breeding ground for some dicky tummies if you're going a bit sort of mad with the Christmas leftovers. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but give us a bit of a kind of rundown of what we should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, so actually, dicky tummies started a couple of weeks ago. We've seen loads of gastroenteritis, but this time, over between Christmas and New Year, my God, the amount of food that we've got. But we're also not very careful with the way that we prep our food. We have food lying out for ages when we're hosting. You might have lots of meats and fish, for example, sitting out, dairy products sitting out, and then you put them back in the fridge, and several days later you still want to have that turkey sandwich, and then you wonder why you've got a sore belly. I think it's just remembering food hygiene is really important. If you're hosting, remember to keep putting things back in the fridge. Look at the sell-by dates, particularly when it comes to meat and fish, etc. And if it's been more than a couple of days, and or if it smells iffy, don't try it. The number of people that we are seeing at the moment with diarrhea and vomiting is nuts, and we do see it a lot at this time of year. But the common culprit is not looking after the food that you're eating. So keep washing your hands and bin the stuff that is kind of iffy.
And it's always it's that sort of, some people say, it's the wee smell test, isn't it? That's sometimes not necessarily.
Yeah, I think the smell test is very powerful, and I think I'm always encouraging my kids to smell things as well. I'm like, smell that milk, does it smell funny? But I think it's more the meats and things, and everyone's touching all the food and not washing their hands, and then it's all going in and out of cold temperatures. Fridges might not be adequately, set to the right temperatures. So I think if it's been more than a couple of days, it's time to really review. Don't be making that kind of soup from leftover meat a week later. It's not going to be good for you.
No, and it's trying to not have that temptation of thinking, actually, it's fine. It'll be fine. And
it'll be fine, yeah.
We don't want to go down that route.
It might not be.
Absolutely not. Right, okay. Listen, Poonam, it is always great, as always, to talk to you.
You too.
You have a fantastic new year.
You too, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Fingers crossed. We've been making these plans for a wee while. It needs to happen. Right, okay. You're listening to BBC Radio Scotland. I am back with you tomorrow morning. Hazel Irvine is one of my guests. We're going to be speaking about her new programme. I'm going to be back with a phone in, of course, tomorrow morning from 9 o'clock as well. But stay tuned right now. Our episode 4 of BBC Radio Scotland's podcast, The Missing Madonna, is on the way next. Have a good day.